Yeah, so actually I was a runner, and one day I was running and my foot wouldn't move like I wanted to. So I thought I pulled a muscle, went to the doctor. They looked at it for a while, and he said, don't think it's anything with your muscle. You need to go see a neurologist. So, I went there, not sure what to think, and the doctor did a couple of tests, and he said, I think you have MS. So that was 1999. So, you're kind of driving away from there a little bit freaked out, thinking, oh my gosh, what is it? And didn't really know much about it. So there's three kinds of MS. There's relapsing remitting, secondary progressive, and primary progressive. And it took a couple years to get an official diagnosis. I ended up going to the Mayo Clinic, and they had better MRI equipment to diagnose my type of MS, which is primary progressive, kind of a slow, disabling thing. I tell people it's like you clip a nerve every day, and sometimes it hits a muscle that you really need, and sometimes it doesn't matter. But when I was diagnosed, the doctor at the Mayo Clinic said, you should expect to probably lose your job within 5 years. And I was 35 at the time. I didn't say a lot initially at first, and then when I started walking with a cane, people were like, oh my gosh, what happened to you? Did you have an accident? And this was like 2005. I worked for Pepsi at the time, and they were starting employee resource groups. So one of the ones they started was Enable, which was for people what they call different abilities, whether you had MS or Alzheimer's or autism or a caregiver. So I was one of the founding members of that group, which was probably the first time I really started talking about it. And that's what I've been doing a lot since then, which, to me kind of gives me purpose for trying to make a difference in driving awareness. My daughter and my son, once I don't think was ever embarrassed of that. I coached her basketball team and kind of hobbled around, and, they've always been super supportive. And my wife, Susan, went to a lot of my initial visits, and her background was in medical already. So she was pretty passionate about trying to do something. So I think her first time she walked was probably 2003. And then we formed an official team, Gatorade Enable, which has been our walk team for the past 17 years. We started that in 2007. Every year it got bigger and bigger as we've done that. And I think, just looking back, I believe we're over $250,000 we've raised since we started doing our walk team. So it's pretty exciting considering where we started and where we're at now as far as generating money and hopefully helping find a cure. So I joined the Indiana chapter of the Board of Trustees for the MS Society. That was the end of 2015. So that's when I first met Jeff. And he was, I forget when he did his bike ride across the country one of the first times, but he was going through the story of how they did this. And I mean, it was amazing that they did this in like 7 days or something crazy. And they're sleeping in a van and, never stopping. And so he was a really amazing guy. And I remember looking at his walk team as well, because their walk team was one of the top walk teams. And, I was thinking with our team at the time, boy, how do we do that? It's just amazing the passion and energy that him and his wife Jill and their whole family had really to drive awareness and hopefully change the outcome of people with MS. When I think about it, it's like, what did I do to compare myself to anything that Jeff did, as far as driving awareness and that? Because to me, it's just doing what you need to do, you normally would do. You've got this, so you need to keep going. But, it's really an honor to be awarded this, because again, Jeff was a great person and loved the work that he did and all the awareness that he drove. And it's very humbling to get this award. And, looking at some of the past winners, it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's a great to accept the award and to have that, but it is truly a humbling experience. I'm very honored to receive this award. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Jeff was an amazing person, and to be the recipient of an award in his honor is truly amazing and a humbling experience for me. And I want to thank you very much for this, and hopefully I can do a lot of what Jeff did to raise awareness and resources to cure MS.